Welcome to the Sort It Out SI League Guide for Germany, where we'll look at the league structure within Football Manager 2023 and run through a few save ideas if you want to start your career in Germany. On FM23, Germany has just 3 playable levels with 3 divisions and a total of 56 playable teams. The season in Germany is a traditional European winter season, so runs from roughly August through to June and will cover all levels of the playable pyramid, including European qualification and the domestic cup competition. Now, we start our guide with the top tier, the Bundesliga, which is an 18-team league that plays a double round-robin schedule for a 34-game campaign. In the first season, Germany has 7 European qualification places. 6 automatically go to the league, with the 7th being awarded to the winner of the DFB Pokal, which we'll cover later. Again, there's a usual caveat, which you know from now. Or the league position, depending on the winner, it goes down into the league, depending on the winner of the cup. But we'll find that out later when we cover the DFB Pokal. At the other end of the table, there are 2 automatic relegation places down into the second tier, with the 16th place side also at risk of relegation. That side heads into a 2-legs playoff against the 3rd place team from the 2 Bundesliga. Away goals are used if aggregate scores are level after the second leg, and then both extra time and penalties are also a possibility. The squad and transfer rules in Germany are pretty simple. There's a minimum number of German and homegrown national and club players needed in your squad during the registration window, but that's about it really in terms of restrictions. The 2 Bundesliga follows the exact same structure as the Bundesliga, with 18 teams taking part once again. The top 2 teams are automatically promoted, with the 3rd place team heading into that aforementioned playoff against the 16th place in the Bundesliga. At the bottom, it's exactly the same as well. 2 teams automatically relegated, with the 16th team going into a playoff with a team from the 3 Liga, which itself is very similar. The only real notable change is that the league has 20 teams rather than 18, so there is a 38-game regular season. The top 2 eligible teams are automatically promoted, with the 3rd going into the 2 Bundesliga playoff. And I say eligible teams because B teams can play in the 3 Liga. So in the initial 22-23 campaign, both Dortmund 2 and Freiburg 2 are playing in this league. They can't go up to the 2 Bundesliga. The bottom 4 teams are automatically relegated with no playoffs taking place, and these teams go down into these teams are relegated into the unplayable regional Liga, which is the 4th tier. Now we're going to shift focus to the domestic cup competitions now, which is the DFB Pokal. It's a 64-team straight knockout tournament, and the 64 teams are populated by all 18 teams in both the Bundesliga and the 2 Bundesliga from the previous season, plus the top 4 teams from the previous 3 Liga season, so the top from the year before. All second teams, however, are ineligible, and then the final 24 teams, so that's 40 teams from the league, they qualify through the previous season's Verbandspokal, which isn't playable in-game, but it is a series of 21 regional cups across Germany for teams in the 3 Liga and lower. The largest 3 states also award a place in the DFB Pokal to the winner of their regional Liga to round out the 64 teams. Right, in the first round, the teams are ranked and split into 2 pots. So the top 32 are in one pot, the bottom 32 are in the other. The lower ranked teams are always drawn at home, and then they're always drawn against a team from the other pot. This continues in the second round until all of one pot is used up. So if there's only 5 teams from the second pot, they'll get drawn first at home, and then it'll just be a regular draw from the one pot. The third round sees the 16 remaining teams grouped together and drawn as normal you'd expect in a normal cup competition. The winner of the DFB Pokal earns a Europa League qualification spot, depending on their league finish. Obviously, if they've already qualified for the Champions League, then that place drops into the league for the next highest finish in the Bundesliga. Now, with all that covered, let's look at 5 fantastic save ideas for Germany across the multiple levels of playable football. We start with the ever-present dominant force of German football, FC Bayern. They have won a record 32, now 33, after the completion of the 22-23 season, German titles, with a further 20 DFB Pokal wins and 6 Champions League successors, or European Cup, as some of them were when they won them. They're easily the best side in the country, so much so that it would probably be harder to not win domestically than it would to win. So your challenge is obviously going to be to try and achieve a 3rd treble to follow up the 2013 and 2020 successors. So where they won the Bundesliga, the DFB Pokal and the Champions League all in one season. That's your task, to try and repeat it for the third time. Next, we have Union Berlin, who were a popular, if largely unsuccessful side from East Germany pre-unification. Financial difficulties during the 90s, which hit quite a lot of the East German sides, in all honesty, saw them flounder, but they did eventually rise, getting to the final of the DFB Pokal in 2001, despite being a third-tier team, and they eventually rose to promotion to the Bundesliga for the first time ever in 2019. They quickly rose up the league and qualified for Europe at the end of their second season, and then again at the end of their third season, and now they're positioned well to continually challenge for Champions League qualification, which is something they've achieved in the season that's just finished, and that's going to be your aim before you look to bring the Bundesliga title to East Berlin. At one time, Hamburger SV were the only club to play in every Bundesliga season, but that came to an end with their relegation in 2018, about 5 years ago. During that time, HSV captured 6 German titles and won both the European Cup and the European Cup Winners' Cup. Since relegation, though, HSV have come close to promotion in each season, missing out by the smallest of margins, by a point, a few points, goal difference. They've just missed out every single time, and they will be continuing to be perennial favourites for the 2 Bundesliga until that promotion comes, and continue to have an incredibly strong support despite being outside of the top flight. Now, your task, if you are their new manager, will be to secure promotion and to return HSV to their best by winning the Bundesliga and maybe even the Champions League once again. Now, the second club on our list from Munich are fallen giants 1860 Munich. Now, they find themselves in the third Liga, the 3 Liga, and now 1860 won the Bundesliga back in 1966, a year after reaching the European Cup Winners' Cup final in a losing effort to West Ham, and they were a mainstay in the Bundesliga until the 1980s, and since then they've gone up and down the leagues, with a high being a 4th place in the Bundesliga in 2000, and a low being a fall down to the 4th tier regional Liga for the 2017-18 season. Now, the slow rebuild is back on, but from the 3 Liga it will be a long road for you to get 1860 back onto a level playing field with their rivals Bayern at the top of German football. Our final club on the list is the second from East Germany. It's Dynamo Dresden. Now, Dresden saw much more success pre-unification with 8 East German titles and a further 7 East German Cup victories. And after unification, Dynamo survived in the Bundesliga for 4 years. They were one of the 2 teams, they were the top 2 teams in East Germany to get into the Bundesliga. But their inevitable relegation, which was then compounded by debt, which saw them drop straight from the 1st tier down to the 3rd tier, and the road back has been very tough, with only a handful of seasons in the 2 Bundesliga over the last 25 to 30 years, and their most recent setback coming with relegation at the end of the 21-22 season, so they're now in the 3 Liga. The task for you is to return this former East German giant to the Bundesliga and give that large Dynamo support something to cheer for. So there we have it, a whistle-stop tour of the playable German leagues on Football Manager, along with 5 great save ideas. Now, if you are familiar with either real-life German football or you've managed there extensively on Football Manager, please head to the comments and share your thoughts. Please share any corrections or any important stories that you've done managing in Germany. And whilst there, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check out more of these league guides, which are coming up right now.